This is a moment in Jewish history. Last week, I talked about the Golem, the legendary man made of clay and brought to life through Hebrew letters to protect the Jewish community and do things with power beyond ordinary humans. The Golem lies dormant in the attic of a synagogue, and only the rabbi knows how to reactivate it. Well, the Golem computer can be seen lying dormant at the Weizmann Institute of Science in Rehovot, Israel. I have seen photos of it, the massive closet-sized computer from the early 1960s, with the word Golem in Hebrew and English, and beside it a keyboard with letters used to activate it. This was Israel's second computer, more powerful than the original called WEIZAC, or Weizmann Automatic Computer, which was built in the 1950s. It too is on display at the Institute. Today, Israel is considered a leader in the high-tech industry and a pioneer in computing and software. But back in the 1950s, Israel was a new country, and the only place they could obtain parts to build WEIZAC was from a bicycle shop. This is the story of Israel's first computer, and includes the likes of Albert Einstein, Robert Oppenheimer, Chaim Weizmann, and two bicycle repairmen. The idea to build a computer in the Jewish state came from Dr. Chaim Pekeris, founder of the Department of Applied Mathematics at the Weizmann Institute of Science. He was born in Lithuania, the son of a baker. He attended MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the United States. One sibling moved to the land of Israel, one also to America, but his parents and another sibling were lost in the Holocaust. At MIT, Dr. Pekeris studied astrophysics and hydrodynamics and wrote papers on sound velocity and became interested in tectonic plates and earthquakes. He would later use the computer he helped build to research earthquake activity. He also worked at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey, where he met John von Neumann, inventor of the IAS machine, one of the first computers in the world. After the State of Israel became independent from the British in 1948, Dr. Chaim Weizmann, the president of the country and founder of the institute, recruited him. It was the idea of Dr. Pekeris to build a computer, and a committee was formed, and included the aforementioned Dr. John von Neumann and two other people affiliated with the Institute for Advanced Study, the world-famous physicist Albert Einstein and the former director of the American atomic bomb project, J. Robert Oppenheimer. Now, Albert Einstein was a strong supporter of an independent Jewish nation and even helped found Hebrew University back in the 1920s. It was Einstein who asked, "What would a small country like Israel even do with a computer, something that many established European countries did not even have?" To which John von Neumann replied, "Don't worry, if no one else uses the computer, Pekeris will use it full time." But the computer was in high demand once it was built, and building it was a challenge. Materials were not readily available. A Jewish-American husband and wife team named Gerald and Thelma Estrin, both with PhDs in electrical engineering, moved to Israel to work on the project. One problem was they needed extremely thin copper strips. After searching high and low, Estrin found what they needed at a small bicycle shop run by two recent immigrants from Bulgaria, who adapted their machinery for the task. The next problem was recruiting staff. Many new Israelis were refugees from war-torn Europe. Although they had advanced degrees, they did not actually have any diplomas or documents since they fled their birthplaces for freedom in the Jewish state. Estrin personally interviewed the recruits to test their knowledge. He stated, "Remarkable changes in Israel were evident. New roads, new buildings, new people, new problems. Before the start of the WEIZAC project, there were no digital electronic computers in Israel, no electronic digital engineers, no programmers, and no support personnel. The WEIZAC people succeeded in creating the technological know-how necessary for Israel to play a strong role in the information revolution." Many recruits came from countries that were quickly turning communist and were able to immigrate to Israel as scientists and mathematicians due to the project. Dr. Chaim Weizmann earmarked 20% of the Institute's total budget for the computer project, about $50,000. Finally, WEIZAC officially was operating by 1955. It took up an entire wall and ran on punch cards. Some newspapers called it an electronic brain. The staff called it Weizmann Automatic Computer, or WEIZAC. It had a memory of 40 bits, 1,024 words long, and later expanded to 4,096 words. Not much by today's standards, but quite powerful compared to the few other computers in the world. The following is from an interview with Professor Aviezri Fraenkel, one of the pioneers of WEIZAC, by Asher Tlalim.
Then in 1955 came the day where we wanted to apply voltage the first time to the computer. Black smoke billowed to the ceiling and fires broke out, and it was real fireworks, and the VIPs fled into all directions. Then we corrected everything and we turned it on without the VIPs, and that was okay.
The WEIZAC was used for research in applied mathematics, studying earthquakes and changes in tides. It was used to discover a certain point in the South Atlantic at which the tide does not change. It was used to calculate a two-electron atom quantum system, and soon other institutes across Israel wanted to use the computer. The Israeli Defense Forces used it for ballistic calculations and intelligence. It was to run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on Shabbat, the holy day of rest. And so, the Director General of the Ministry of Defense, Shimon Peres, recruited a Christian engineer who could operate the computer on Shabbat and Jewish holidays.
One big user was the army. Pekeris wanted all the time for himself. The army had, I think, 1 weekly hour. But sometimes the army needed more time. So they called up Ben-Gurion, who was the Minister of Defense. Ben-Gurion called up Mayor Weisgal, who was the Chancellor of the Institute. And so at 2 or 3 in the morning, the army got an extra hour from Pekeris.
Dr. Pekeris went on to earn a gold medal from the Royal Astronomical Society and the Israel Prize from the State of Israel. And many of the staff on WEIZAC went on to brilliant careers and helped lay the foundations for Israel's future high-tech industry. Finally, after 8 years, the Weizmann Institute was ready for an upgrade. WEIZAC was retired and replaced with the Golem, which had a 75-bit word size compared to WEIZAC's 40, and the next version of the Golem was 100 times faster than the WEIZAC. At the dedication of the new Golem computer in 1965, the famous writer Gershom Scholem was invited to speak. Here are some excerpts about what he called the Golem of Rehovot. The Golem, a creature created by human intelligence and concentration, which is controlled by its creator and performs tasks set by him, but which at the same time may have a dangerous tendency to outgrow that control and develop destructive potentialities. I dare say the old Kabbalists would have been glad to learn of this simplification of their own system. This is progress. External beauty has been denied him. What kind of spiritual beauties lurk inside? We shall learn in due time, I hope. Whether the Golem of Prague could correct his mistakes, I doubt. The new Golem seems to be able in some ways to learn and improve himself. This makes the modern Kabbalists more successful than the ancient ones, and I may congratulate them on this score. All my days, I have been complaining that the Weizmann Institute has not mobilized the funds to build up the Institute for Experimental Demonology and Magic, which I have for so long proposed to establish there. They prefer what they call applied mathematics and its sinister possibilities to my more direct magical approach. Little did they know, when they preferred Chaim Pekeris to me, what they were letting themselves in for. So I resign myself and say to the Golem and its creator, develop peacefully and don't destroy the world. This has been a moment in Jewish history. For questions or comments and past shows, you can visit benbresky.substack.com. Thank you to all the listeners, and Shalom.